Now, because we have been conditioned, right, to escape from our feelings, what we do is many of us tend to just wait for the weekend to go to party, to go drinking, perhaps to go and have sex. Or you just try to find validation by, you know, buying the last things that are on trend, buying the last clothes, perhaps new phones, perhaps material things, thinking that that is what makes you you. Welcome to week one of the Clarity Code. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here and for allowing yourself to reconnect and to go deeper into understanding who you truly are and why is that you're meant to be here. Now, week one is all about clarity. It's about discovering who we are beneath the noise. It's about understanding and uncovering the layers of conditioning and start peeling them one by one so that we can really know who we really are. Now, every single week we're going to be having different intentions. And for those who haven't used intentions, intentions are one of the most powerful forces, one of the most powerful energies. Because whenever we create intentions, whether if it's for an activity, whether if it's for a ritual, or for anything that you want to do during your day, whenever you set an intention, you are basically creating a clear line of where is that you want to go, what is that you want to achieve, what is that you want to understand. Now, every single week, as I said, we're going to be placing different intentions. And this week, our intention is to reconnect with your inner truth and bring clarity to who you truly are, beyond the roles, beyond the fear, and beyond the expectations. Just think about it. Ever since you were born, ever since you were a child, your parents told you how to act, what to say, what not to say. Then you went to school, college, university. You started working, and then you realized that all your life you have been following somebody else's ideas and thoughts of who they think that you are. Now, with this week's intention, we're going to bring back ourselves into understanding who we really are and why are we here. Isn't that something amazing? Now, one of the phrases that I like to say is that we can't move forward if we don't know where we are standing. So just keep that in mind. Now let's start. What is clarity and what is not, shall we? Now, first of all, I want to start with what is not. A lot of people think that clarity is related to perfection, that clarity perhaps means knowing the final destination, or perhaps that clarity depends on something outside of you. Most of the people as well think that clarity is their comfort zone, is their safety mechanisms. But what is really clarity? Now, when we think about it, clarity is knowing who you are without the confusion. It's being able to see your life through your soul's eyes. It's the foundation of your purpose, of your direction, and your decision making. Now, what I have learned through my journey over these years that I have been really trying to understand who I am, like who I am beyond the things that I was ever told, beyond the ideas that they were ever imposed in me. Who am I without the society expectations? And a lot of people nowadays they talk about purpose, they talk about direction, they talk about, all these different things. But nobody really talks about clarity of knowing who you really are. because your purpose is related to your authenticity. Now, if you don't know who you truly are, how do you think you're going to be able to discover that purpose? Or the real reason of why you are here in this planet at this time? Now, for us, in order to find clarity, we need to allow ourselves to find who we truly are. Who are we beyond the conditioning? So, shall we find ourselves? Now, I want to speak about why we often lose clarity. And I have been tapping within this first subject, conditioning. You know, we were given societal norms uh, since we were kids. We were told how to act, how to react, what to say, what not to say. We have been basically told to wear different masks, to never allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Because how many of you have ever heard your mom or your dad saying, um, in the case of men, kids don't cry? Or in the case of girls, girls shouldn't be too emotional. And in the same way, we have been conditioned by society. You know, they tell us what to wear, they tell us what to wear, they tell us how to act. And eventually you realize that you reach your 30s, or perhaps even earlier. Like in my case, I reached my 25 and I was completely lost. I didn't know who I was. All I knew was that I didn't know myself. Because I thought I was my name, I thought I was my title, and many of us think in that way. Now, the second reason why we lose clarity is because we have unprocessed emotions. Now, think about it. We have all experienced past traumas. We have all experienced things where we experience anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame, hurt. We all have limiting beliefs. You know, this idea of I am not good enough, I don't think I deserve it, I don't think I am worth it. We all have it. We all have so many unacknowledged feelings that they simply create a fog, making it very difficult to see who is that we truly are. Now, because we have been conditioned, right, to escape from our feelings, what we do is many of us tend to just wait for the weekend to go to party, to go drinking, perhaps to go and have sex. Or you just try to find validation by, you know, buying the last things that are on trend, buying the last clothes, perhaps new phones, perhaps material things, thinking that that is what makes you you. But the reality is that it doesn't. It just basically, with all these things that I have mentioned, we just keep on making that the fog becomes bigger and bigger. Now, the other one is external expectations. You know, we love our nature because of the way that we were told since we were kids, since we were very, very, very little. We, we were told that we need to please others. We need to fulfill certain external roles, and we need to fulfill someone else's desires in order to feel validated, in order to have meaning in this life. We have always tried. I remember that once I was working, and it was back in my days in hospitality, and I felt I felt very sad because I couldn't connect with someone. I tried everything to connect with this person. and he just didn't like me. And all my attention was towards him. And I remember once my friend, she said, do you realize what you are doing? And I didn't have the awareness at that stage, or I wasn't aware, and I needed her to remind me. And she said, like, why are you trying so hard to be liked by him? And I remember saying, because I wanted to be liked by everybody. I wanted to feel accepted by everybody. And she just said, how sad. How sad is that your actions now depend on only one person. Now, we have all done it. We have all wanted to be liked. We have all wanted to feel validated. And because we seek so much, we lose clarity. And then the fourth one is disconnection. We have to be very honest, and we have lost touch with our body signals, with our inner intuition, with our natural sense of direction. When we start working with ourselves, when we start understanding who we really are, we get to meet those deeper parts from ourselves. We get to understand that we can communicate with our soul, that we can communicate with our higher self. And because we have disconnected ourselves so much, imagine that with all these things that I have explained to you, you have been, ever since you were born, you were given eye masks, you know? And with every single thing, you were given another one and another one and another one. And now you have this massive layer of eye masks that they simply don't allow you to find clarity. You simply can't, because there is so many things that they have been conditioned, that they have been placed onto you, that now you feel like you're completely lost. That you have lost that sense of inner knowing. You feel so disconnected that now you prefer trusting ChatGPT than trusting yourself. And I just want you to think and let these words land. Clarity gets buried, not lost. Now your job. And the reason why you're here is because you're trying to remember. You're trying to remember, who am I really? Beyond the title, beyond my age, beyond my gender, beyond my nationality. Who am I? Now, let's talk about how can we go back to clarity? How can we tap back within that inner knowing? How can we start listening more to our intuition, to our soul, to our higher self? Now, the first thing is self-awareness. We need to be able and we need to be willing to take the steps so that we can understand what is that we are constantly thinking, what is that we are constantly feeling, which patterns am I constantly repeating? But here is the key. You need to learn to do it without judgment. Because it's easy once we start creating self-awareness of ourselves. It is very easy to start judging ourselves and flagellating ourselves and feeling pity. But once we start seeing it from a more neutral perspective, once we understand that the reality that we have created and everything that you are experiencing right now is based on all those old traumas, on all those experiences that hurt you since you were a child, that it is based on all that conditioning that you have received until now. But once you start creating this self-awareness, once you become a little bit more aware, things can change. And now I am pretty sure that you're wondering, or you're asking yourself, but how do we create self-awareness? Well, something that has helped me to create self awareness is meditation. And in this course, you're going to go through every single week. I have created one meditation that is going to guide you towards reconnect with your essence and who you truly are. Now, the second one is radical honesty. We simply need to let ourselves be honest. It is so easy to lie to ourselves. Like you wake up every Monday questioning your life, knowing that you are not happy, that you are not content. But you decide to just keep on doing the exact same thing, keep on taking the exact same actions, and then you wonder why nothing is changing. But one thing that you don't allow yourself is to be honest. And in this path, whenever we are trying to find ourselves, whenever we are trying to find who we really are, we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to allow ourselves to confront the truths that we have created around ourselves, around our lives, the lies as well. And it is uncomfortable. It is very uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie to you. It is being radical honest with ourselves means that we accept that every single time that we're looking at ourselves in the mirror and we are not happy, and we are constantly just diminishing ourselves with our own thoughts, with our own words, it's just a result of the actions that you have been taking. Because if you keep on complaining about your body not being the way you desire it to be, if you keep on complaining about your life not being the way you desire it to be, when do you ask yourself, how is that I have created myself this reality? If I don't take care of my body, how do I expect to look like the guys and the girls that are in the magazine? If I don't have healthy habits, then how can I expect to be living in a different reality? And being radically honest with ourselves is harsh. How many of you have ever felt afraid of telling yourself the truth about what is really going on? How many of you here have ever lied to yourselves or just decided to escape from those feelings because it's just too much? We start having all these feelings in our chest, we start having this anxiety, and the first thing that we think about it is, okay, what can I do? Should I start scrolling, or should I go in, for like 12 hours of Netflix, or should I just go and drink for the whole weekend so that I keep on numbing this feeling? Now, the other one is identity deconstruction. Now, imagine you have created an identity up to now, right? You have created an identity which you think you are. But that identity that you have created doesn't serve you anymore. In fact, it's taking you nowhere. And what we need to understand, what we must understand, is that during these weeks, what you will learn to do is deconstruct that identity and understand which are the things from my old identity that I just need to let in the past, that they are not serving me. Because if you created an identity and a personality and an idea of who you think you are based on the conditioning and the experiences that you had in the past, then how do you think that identity is the exact identity that is creating the reality in which you are experiencing right now? Now, the other one is emotional processing. We need to acknowledge and integrate past emotions to free up the mental space. Instead of escaping from our emotions, what we need to do is we need to sit with them. How many times did I want to just run from my emotions? How many times? I was so used to actually to just run away from my emotions. I used to work in an industry where I had access to parties all the time, to alcohol, to food, drugs, even. And whenever I was feeling very convoluted, whenever I was feeling very confronted with myself, I just used to escape. But I didn't give myself the opportunity to sit and just to allow myself to really feel. How do we process our emotions? Is you literally just sit. If you are feeling unease, if you are feeling uncomfortable, if something is going on within, get away from everyone, perhaps go to your room, start taking some very deep breaths, start connecting with your body, disconnect with your mind, and just simply allow yourself to feel. If you want, even you can place your right or left hand in whichever place you feel that emotion, and you just let yourself feel. You don't let any thoughts to come around, you just concentrate in the feeling that you're having in the body. And in that way, you learn to process your emotions and to not escape from them. Eventually, you will see that whichever you were feeling, and if it was, you know, between 1 and 10, 10 being the strongest, if it was a 9 or a 10, if you just sit with your emotion, perhaps it's going to go down to like 2, 3. Sometimes it might even disappear. And then the last one is, and this one is probably one of the most important, is reconnecting with your essence. It's turning into your core, going beyond societal roles, going beyond societal expectations, beyond what your mom, your dad, your sister wants from you, your brother wants from you, your partner wants from you. If you are not happy, if you are feeling unfulfilled, if you are feeling lost, if you are feeling like something must change in your life, you start by listening to yourself, by stop lying to yourself, by stop escaping from yourself, but going back into that essence. And this is exactly what we are going to be doing over these 6 weeks. Now, clarity is an inside job. You cannot find clarity in the external. You will only find it deep within. Now, I'm going to be giving you some reflection questions because talking about the concepts is amazing, but it really comes into doing the work. And that work only comes when you sit with yourself, with your emotions, when you become radical honest with yourself, and you allow yourself to answer these reflection questions that I have developed. Now, all these questions that you will see across these 6 weeks, they have all been designed to create certain changes in your neuropaths, in your subconscious mind. So they might seem sometimes a little bit confusing, but it is worth for you to try to answer each one of them. And something that I want to teach you right here, right now, is whenever you answer this, don't overthink, but just allow yourself to, anything that comes out, put it into your paper, let it out, and later on you will understand that it's your soul, your subconscious mind also trying to communicate with you, telling you what is really going on. Now, for us to find clarity, again, we will have to be brutally honest. So are you ready? Now, the first question is, we're going to tap within our authentic moments. When did you used to feel most like you? I want you to consider times of joy, of flow, or deep connection. And one amazing way of doing this is just go back into your childhood. Remember when you used to play, what was the thing that made you you? I remember when I was a kid, I used to play with my cousins and I used to do little events. And I will do shows, I will create the scenarios, And I knew that my joy lay there. That's where I felt most authentic. I also remember that when I was helping others, I felt so connected with who I was. So I want you to go back in time and ask yourself, when did I feel most like me? When do I feel most like me right now in your current reality? When do you feel most like yourself? Is it in times where you're in nature, perhaps? Is it in times where you are allowing yourself to expand your mind, spending time with people that perhaps think differently than you? When do you feel the most authentic? Now, the second one is we need to go into our hidden parts. What parts of yourself have you been hiding from others or even from yourself? Which things have you been hiding for all these years? And you have been just pushing it away because once you were told that was not important or there was no value in that part of you. So just go dive deep and find it. What is that you're hiding from others? And what will your life look like if you stopped hiding yourself? And the last one is fear of truth. Where are you unclear because you're afraid to see the truth about the certain situation or yourself? The reality is that whenever we need to confront ourselves, most of the time we feel afraid. We want to escape because it's too much. Because perhaps going back into that old traumatic memory will bring things that you have been hiding for years that you didn't want it to see. But the beauty of this is that the more you allow yourself to go through this darkness, to go through these shadows, to understand the layers of the conditioned self, of your conditioned self, the more clarity you will get. Because what we are doing through these 6 weeks, remember when I told you the metaphor of the eye masks? What we are going to be doing over these 6 weeks is we're going to be uncovering your eye masks, taking it out one by one. How? By doing the inner work, by allowing yourself for these 6 weeks to be radically honest, to stop hiding, so that you can really find that essence and who you truly are. Now, this week, we have a few activities that you're going to be following through in the platform. So after watching this video, I want you to complete the self-assessment worksheet, which is very similar to the questions that I have given you before. You're going to use the clarity mapping template. I want you to listen to the first guided meditation. Now, you can use this guided visualization or meditation once, or you can do it across 7 days. It's really up to you. The more you do it, the more clarity you will be able to find. The more you do it, the more messages you will be able to receive. And all that I want you is you can join our live Q&As, and every single week make sure that you are checking our mini master classes. I will also be giving you access to an AI bot that is going to be accompanying you towards this week. So use the clarity code bot whenever you are uncertain of what you should be checking or what you should be answering. What I have done is basically I have replicated myself into an AI bot that is going to be guiding you through this process, through this journey. The bot knows exactly what is the goal, what is the outcome, what is that we want to create, and it's going to be guiding you. so that you can find the answers by yourself. Something that I want you to think about during the week, and you can share it with your community. You can share it on your social media. You can share it with your family, with your friends. What clarity are you calling in right now? What is that you are really trying to find towards these 6 weeks, and especially this week? Remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. All I want you to do is to start sharing what's alive in you and who you really are. And as a final reminder, I want to let you know that you were never lost. You were just disconnected. This week is about coming back to your inner compass, because you are the clarity that you have been waiting for. You have that inner compass. You have all the answers. You have the capacity to uncover each layer so that you can find who you really are. What is next? Next week, we're going to be tapping with fulfillment. Once we see who we are, we will start exploring what makes life meaningful. Until then, I want you to go deep, be radically honest, be courageous, allow yourself to find your clarity, because your clarity is one of your superpowers. I want you to thank you all for being here, for allowing yourself to go through these concepts, to go through this journey, and just trust. Whichever starts coming up is what was meant to be coming up. Whenever you're doing the journaling, whenever you're doing the activities, just allow yourself to go deep, to trust in your inner clarity, in your inner compass, and to have an open mind so that all these concepts can radically change your life. Once more, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next session. Now, I want to give you some examples of how intentions have helped me and others in the past. Whenever we start creating intentions, whenever we start creating a path towards anything that we want to achieve, let's say in the morning you wake up and your intention is to be grateful. So when you start practicing and creating the intention in the morning, what will start happening is you will start noticing yourself being more grateful towards the day. Another example can be if you are creating any sort of ritual, maybe a full moon ritual or a plant medicine ritual. What you can do is you can set an intention so that you know exactly what is the outcome and what is that you want to get out of it. Setting up intentions, any type of intentions, allow us to have more clarity, to create a clear path, and to just be more intentional towards what we want to achieve, create, or discover. Whenever we start our deconstruction of our identity, if you don't know where to start, one really good point and one checkup that you can do and that you can ask yourself is, what are the things that you were told to believe since you were a kid that you think that they are no longer truth? What are the things that you have been told to believe about yourself that you think they no longer resonate with the person or the identity that you're trying to create? I want you to dive deeper into create awareness towards the things that you constantly do, for example, that you don't want to be doing them anymore. The times that you say yes to things that you don't want to be doing anymore. If you start creating awareness towards that, if you start questioning literally everything about who you think you are, and what you have been told about yourself and society, that's how you will be deconstructing the identity. And yes, the process might be a little bit uncomfortable or a lot uncomfortable, but at the end it's worth it because it will allow you to find who you really are.